our success, right? Our success. That's what I'm all about. Because before my sickness, Logan, I became quote unquote wealthy, but incredibly unfulfilled. That was because I was after my personal gain, right? My personal growth is all I had in mind. But now our success is a collective success. Let me give you an example so you understand. Imagine a row of trees planted in your backyard. Every single one of these trees has roots down in the ground, right? Together, they pull the water up to the surface just enough so that
This is Scratch Your Own Itch, the one show that delivers the conversations that we're afraid to share, but need to. This show is all about creating a life worth living. I'm Logan Tyler Nelson, and I'm your host. So, you're going to hear conversations with creators and entrepreneurs talk about what they do, their current and past traumas, how they became who they are, and what they are truly curious about. This is the show where we talk about the things we think about a lot, but need to talk about more. Please take note that this show is not a substitute for actually creating a life worth living, because this show will stir your beliefs, make you question what it means to create a life worth living. So my promise to you is to always give you one question to answer for yourself today to start turning your dreams into a reality. Hey, ladies and gents, before I get into this show with Mr. Ash Sobhe, I wanted to read a review for you just to let you know, hey, I am listening, and if you want to leave a review, I would love to read it on the show. I got a review from an awesome dude. His name's Seth Creekmore. He said, this is a podcast that has great guests and delivers value for every day. Good information coupled with inspiration is the key to getting up every morning with a purpose. Thank you so much, Seth Creekmore, man. I love Seth. He's an awesome dude. Can't wait to talk to him more, actually. I connected him through the Mind Pump people, and I love that dude and the way his brain works. Anyways, if you're someone who's, looking for more visibility themselves and they just want to maybe plug in their YouTube channel or their podcast that they're working on, that is awesome. If you leave that in the review, I would love to read that off too, just so you can get some more visibility. And if you're looking how to actually, let's say you have a platform already and you want to start another platform, like you have YouTube and now you want to be a podcaster, I'm actually doing a super cheap course, $25. I'll get you launched on iTunes. We'll walk through it together. Super simple. I would love to help you out with that. So please don't wait. You can contact me through the Facebook link that I'll leave in the show notes. And hey, I know it sucks. You're probably thinking about it. You've probably thought about it quite a bit. And you're like, I just don't know. It seems so hard to start. I promise you. It's like anything in life. I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like going to sleep right now. It's not time. I don't feel like writing right now. It's not time. I don't feel like calling anybody right now and really asking them. It's so weird because our feelings play tricks on us, because once we start, the hardest part is just starting, and I promise you, once you get momentum, it becomes a lot easier. So if this is resonating with you, I want to let you know you're not alone. No one feels like doing the harder stuff, and then once they do and they grease the gear and they get it rolling, it ends up becoming so much easier. So if this at all pertains to you, I want to let you know that I'm here for you. But I really want you to get into this Ash Sobhe interview that I'm about to present to you. It's an incredible one. He's a mind blower. The mind of this man just... He talks about death in mind, and that's what his TED Talk's about, and I think it's really important. that we actually do think about that because when you're confused and you're not sure where to go next, if we think about the end result and what we want first, and we get crystal clear with it, not just once, but every single day, we go, this is what I want in my life. You know, he taught me that what I want in my life is I want to have a community of people that have gone through suicidal thoughts, but become better by going through that and realizing that just their thoughts aren't them, and to take action on the new ideas and to innovate and to share their story and to be brave like that. I want to be amongst those kinds of people every single day. I want to be amongst people that are working hard physically and mentally to become better versions of themselves, and just themselves, not competing with anybody else, because really at the end of the day, all you can do is become 1% better than you were yesterday. And I promise you, those small increments lead to becoming a legend. I mean, I'm not the only person who says this. That's been dubbed from many, many amazing people. Jim Rohn talks about this. Jack Canfield talks about this. Tim Ferriss talks about this. So, anyways, please enjoy my interview with Ash Sobhe. Just you. So, my curiosity question for you is, have you ever thought about the fact that we're not getting out of here alive? Okay, so let me set the tone. You know, death is coming, but there's still this thing inside of you that tries to control the outcome of everything you do. You go on believing that everything you do will set you up perfectly for the perfect life, right? Well, maybe not so much. If you've ever been afraid of taking a risk in fear that it will somehow ruin your future, I want to let you know, first off, that you're not alone. Because I know I'm afraid too. But honestly, I know that this thing that happened to me about 5 months ago, this near-death experience, it changes you. It makes you look at life in a whole new way. And I bring this up for two reasons. Well, the subject of dying, at least, because my guest has faced a near-death experience, and he is a master at giving you the permission to just go on and be you. Be the person that you want to be, but he uses a strategy that is unlike most people, because honestly, it scares people. But it's through this scarcity that makes you wake up and come alive. Using death to come alive, that's oxymoron, but my guest and I will clear this up. If you're wondering who my guest is, his name is Ash Sobhe, and Ash is dedicated to inspiring humanity with technology and developing marketing growth through artificial intelligence. Ash's work spans over 2 decades, which has earned him prestigious recognitions. He has been awarded a signed Sobhe certificate for excellence in programming by Bill Gates himself. He has a TED Talk called I Am Dying and So Are You, which is exactly why I believe he needs to be shared with the world. And that one person who needs to hear this right now. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to the one and only Ash Sobhe. Hey Ash, thank you so much for coming on Scratch Your Own Itch, man.
What's up, Logan? How are you?
Good. Thank you so much, dude, for taking the time to just be on today. I can't be more thrilled, honestly. I'm really excited for this talk.
I seriously mean this, Logan, when I say I literally have nothing better to do.
No, dude, thank you. Wow. Wow.
This is the best thing.
So, all right. I want to start off with. So the mission of the show is really to make people feel less alone, and to also propel people into scratching their own itch by talking about the things we're afraid to talk about,
Hmm?
but we need to talk about more of. And I know you're a very smart man, and I'm sure you use curiosity as a way to sort of scratch your own itch. And I just want to ask that first question: is what are you curious about? What's that big question that you think you're trying to constantly solve?
So, Logan, growing up, I grew up poor. I lived in seven different countries, or I experienced life in seven different countries, and it was very, very eye-opening. However, I struggled with doubt a lot. I struggled with insecurities. I struggled with self-worth. I struggled a lot with anxiety to a point that, to be honest with you, I even at some point attempted suicide. Life got so hard and so bad that I just completely felt lost, and I didn't have the will to live because I didn't understand my purpose. At some point, to be transparent with you, I fell in love with money because being broke, it just didn't feel good. I never had security. So just literally by watching people like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and so on and so forth, I just really got in the groove of entrepreneurship. Now, at the time, this is early 2000s, right? And entrepreneurship wasn't as hot of a topic as it is now. There wasn't people like Gary Vee and so on and so forth for me to look up to, but there were other people that had done it on a mass scale. So for me, it became this almost this obsession to make as much money as I possibly could. At first, I wanted to make 30, 40 grand. Then when I did that, I wanted to make 100 grand because I still wasn't happy. Then I wanted to make $500,000 a year because I thought maybe then I'll be happy. Then when I did that, I still wasn't happy. Then it was $1 million. Then it was $10 million. Then in the cusp of me setting my eyes on $100 million every 12-month sequence and taking my company, my one of my tech companies public and so on and so forth, I got these massive headaches one day, Logan. I just got up and I couldn't see from my right eye. I kept rubbing it. You know how sometimes you wake up, you feel like you got something in your eye, you got to rub it to kind of get it out there? You ever get that?
Yeah, every now and then, I the
Okay.
sleepies, the sleep boogers, just to paint the picture in someone's
There you go.
mind.
So that's what I thought it was, but it took an entire a year, my brother. It took an entire year, and some of the best neurosurgeons at Cedar-Sinai and UCLA. And after seeing 23 of the smartest surgeons I could possibly buy with money, they looked me in the eye, and after a year of testing, said, "Dude, listen, we honestly, frankly, have exhausted anything and everything we can do. You can either go to Germany or Europe and try to figure out other things that might be going on, but we have no idea what's wrong with you. We found three spots or lesions. At first, they thought they were tumors, but then they started calling them lesions, which when I looked up, it just means basically spots that are growing and so on and so forth, because they changed the diagnosis half a dozen times. At the end of the year, they basically said, hey, all we can do is inject you with a bunch of steroids just to see what happens because we're out of options. That's when I was like, whoa, no. We're not injecting me with anything. Like, how much time do I have? And obviously, as you understand, they're doctors, and because of legal things, they can't tell you those things, right? So they said, we honestly don't know, Ash. I said, okay, well, how much time do you think I could have? Like, worst case scenario, best case scenario. They said that, I mean, what if you were like kind of Stephen Hawking's type, right? You could live with this for a while, even though it might have consequences. At the same time, worst case scenario, maybe you might only have 6 months to live. Dude, my entire freaking life turned upside down. Now, this is a peak of my career. This is when I'm buying cars left and right. This is when I'm like flashing my money like there's no tomorrow, and I'm winning all these awards, and I've gone on all these like prestigious platforms and so on and so forth, and yet I still don't feel good. And I thought if I reach $100 million a year, maybe that's when I'm gonna reach finally happiness, because that's why this whole journey began. And it just completely put me on a different path. The first 3 to 5 months, I would say I was very, very depressed because as you can imagine, like being given that kind of a news when you have so much desires and aspirations and goals and so much ego. My mom is crying on one hand. My girlfriend at the time is just crying nonstop. I'm having to give everybody my passwords, sign a will, create a trust, make sure the information that I have goes somewhere, make sure people have my passwords in case they need to access some of my accounts after I die. What if I had a bank account? What happens to my car? What about my house in Calabasas? Like all of it, right? All of it was what I had to face. And ironically enough, Logan, when you lose it all because you realize life is not about that, I gained something so much greater that it kind of became my mission. Like I looked around and I realized how much misery I was in. I look around now, I realize how much pain all my people are in right now. And it kind of became my itch, to be honest. And that's the itch I'm trying to scratch. I want to try to liberate people from what they think is trapping them right now. And I do that by talking about death. And contrary to popular belief, Logan, death doesn't have to be a sad topic. How I view life is that life is like a song. And if we talk about death, is because I know this song at some point is going to come to an end. If you realize that, if you realize your demise, then you get to dance freely forever. You know? It's the synopsis of everything I'm about. So I'm hoping I can show people what's real, what's not real, so they can dance freely as long as they've got a breath left in them.
Hey friends, so let me ask you real quick. Are you someone who's trying to get more visibility? Who's trying to be in front of the crowd? Well, if that's you, I want to let you know that first of all, you're not alone. Second of all, if you want to get on more podcasts, or ones that actually scratch your own itch, meaning maybe you have a book, or a business, or maybe you do speaking, or if you don't yet do speaking, maybe you can, and maybe you'd love to. Well, I put something together for you, and in this little giveaway, I'm going to show you how to pitch yourself or podcasts and how to actually be professional when you show up so you can be the next authority in your niche, so you can start scratching your own itch. I know what it's like to build something, create something, and then there just be crickets. No one wants that. You need to be seen. You need to be heard because you have a message to share. A message that is worthy of hearing. Podcasts nowadays, more than ever, are being consumed by people. And guess who's actually learning the knowledge that's being shared? It's podcast listeners. It gives you a license to be an authority in whatever area you really dream of being an authority in. So if this at all starts to give you a little itch to scratch, just email Logan at LoganTylerNelson.com. Again, that's Logan at LoganTylerNelson.com. Wow. Wow. Okay, a few things, man. Because that's a lot.
What's on your mind?
Dude, first of all, I think it is an extreme amount of it's an extreme amount of freedom that one receives when they go, gosh, no one is getting out of here. No one is getting out of here alive. So why am I trying so hard with chasing and it kind of happened to me about 5 months ago now, where I'm just like, what am I really chasing? And then I get into the podcasting world and I go, oh, I want to get really good at this podcasting and I want to become an entrepreneur and make money from podcasting and stuff like that. And then I go, wait, I'm playing the how-to game again. I'm trying to play this sort of let's read this manual and let's figure it out. And then once I get it, I'm going to be happy, right? So the next thing, I just got the one question that I have to ask you.
Tell me.
What is real then? What do you really like speaks to you, because I feel like we're all just in this game then of trying to get to the next checkpoint, and I guess what does your company sort of do differently because of this game of asking yourself, like,
For sure. So the name of my agency is R as in Robert, the number six, S as in Sam, right? But if you pronounce it, if you say it out loud, you realize it's just a clever way of me spelling out our success. R6S, right? Our success. That's what I'm all about, because before my sickness, Logan, I became quote unquote wealthy, but incredibly unfulfilled. That was because I was after my personal gain, right? My personal growth is all I had in mind. But now our success is a collective success. Let me give you an example so you understand. Imagine a row of trees planted in your backyard. Every single one of these trees has roots down in the ground, right? Together, they pull the water up to the surface just enough so they can all drink from it and live, right? Now, follow the model. Just kind of play with me here for a second. Imagine one of these trees one day got greedy, and it got into its ego, right? And it said, you know what? Screw all of you. I want more water for me because I want to grow taller, right? Guess what happens? If this one tree all of a sudden starts sucking up all the water, all the other trees around it are going to go dry, right? They're going to go through a drought. They're going to die, and then there's not going to be even enough pool to pull the water from under the ground to the surface for even the stupid tree, the egotistical tree, to survive, right? So quite frankly, with all due respect, I think some of the biggest idiots in the world are people like Jeff Bezos, right? Because Mr. Bezos is very much self-centered. He's accumulating wealth for himself, and he couldn't have been the richest person on earth if he had more of a team mentality. I'm about personal growth as long as I'm not hurting the ecosystem. Because for me, I realized that the only way for me to transfer myself through death, to transcend death completely, I have to be part of this ecosystem. You mentioned something, Logan, that struck me very, very, as a very interesting concept. You said we're not leaving this place alive. The truth of the matter is, brother, if you understand astronomy, if you understand how our universe works, you realize we are not going anywhere. I heard a wise man once say, death is one of the safest things you will ever go through. And it really resonated with me. Let me explain if you don't mind. Our Earth, it's really, really big, right? So for example, if you wanted to walk from here to Shanghai, could you do it?
I mean, it would take me a long time, but yeah.
Right. So how big is this state of California that we talk about? How big is this Earth? All of these big, huge, massive things that we know of right now, I'm about to shatter your entire perception because you asked me what is real and what's not real. So mind this, our Earth belongs to a solar system. Is that correct?
Yes.
Our solar system is in a bigger thing called the Milky Way, right? We're part of a galaxy. Is that correct?
Yes.
We are about we are further away from the center of our galaxy. So now, how we measure these distances is by light years, right? So if you traveled as fast as light, which is incredibly fast, right? So if obviously you can't travel as fast as light, but let's say you could, right? If you could travel as fast as light, it would still take you 30,000 years to get from here to center of our galaxy.
Oh man, that is just so. Oh wow.
Let me go further.
Yeah.
From one corner of our galaxy to the other corner, Logan, it would take you 100,000 years. If you could travel as fast as light, which you can't, because that would mean you would turn into photons. That means you would evaporate, right? So if you could travel as fast as light, it would take you 100,000 years to go from one side to the other. So there's no human being that could ever understand that concept. Now, you know what changed my entire reality, Logan? You ready for this?
Yeah.
Guess how many other galaxies we have so far that we have discovered with our own eyes just to this point alone?
I'm going to be totally honest with you. I have no idea.
Take a guess. How many other huge galaxies do you think we have? 100, 200, 1,000, 100,000? How many galaxies do you think we really could possibly have?
I'm going to guess on a whim 200.
How about you try 2 trillion?
Oh, man.
So next time you lose your job, next time you get in an argument with your boyfriend or girlfriend, next time somebody says something, next time somebody flips you off, and remember that you are so minuscule in this world that you just whatever you're feeling at the time shouldn't even really count, should it? It's just a matter of perspective, right?
Right.
Now, once you understand where you are in the universe, once you understand that Big Bang is the start of what we call our observable universe, that happened 13.74 billion years ago, right? We start, explosion happens, particles go through universe and basically the whole space, and over time some of these things cool off and they create stars and so on and so forth, just like our Earth, right? Stars and planets. Now, if you notice, if you look at everything that we have in the history of our humanity and in the history of science, you notice that not only our universe is not contracting and it's expanding, it's also picking up in speed. So by the virtue of just being on this earth for the past 13.74 years, we're moving forward, not only faster, but we're also growing wider as well. So Logan, in short, all I want to do is I just want to do my job. I want to be like the sun because the sun is doing its job. It's shining on you and I 24/7. It's shining on every single tree out there today to create photosynthesis 24/7. And it's not doing it because it gets paid. It's doing it because of love. It's doing it because that's its job. You see trees outside your window, Logan, do you not? Every single one of those trees right this second, and I want you to hear this with your full heart. Every single one of these freaking trees is producing just as much oxygen as they possibly can for you and I have to be able to have this very same moment right here, right now. Gravity, it's doing its job. The earth, it's doing its job. If the earth rotated any faster than what it rotates right now, you would have been thrown off the earth and the gravity couldn't have kept you here. If it rotated any slower than it does right now, you would have gotten sucked in the earth. There is just the perfect amount of lizards on Earth to make sure we don't get overtaken by the bugs, and there's just the perfect amount of bugs on Earth to make sure our plants and our flowers and our trees pollinate. Like, do you hear what I'm saying to you? Like, everything is perfect. Everything is doing its job. And all these trees that are producing you so much oxygen, Logan, when you walk by them, do they ever tap on your shoulder and say, yo, I did that for you. You owe me. Pay me. They don't do that, do they? The sun just shines because that's its job, right? And that's who I am. That's what I do. Like, I have quote unquote 30 employees. I've sold over quote unquote $2 billion worth of products, but it all means nothing at all. I've had some of the biggest brands like Lamborghini be my client. But at the end of the day, Logan, when you sit across from the executives of the biggest companies, you realize they're just like you and I. They're going through the same exact things you and I are going through. I lived in some of the worst places in the Middle East. I also lived for a while in Beverly Hills too. And I got to tell you, man, like the kids right this second, the worst living situations, even in Congo, those kids are going through the same exact things the biggest billionaires in the world are going through as well, which is self-doubt, insecurities. Am I good enough? What is my life about? So my mission became doing a lot of research, figuring out what life is about, and then going around telling other people, yo, what if you were dying tomorrow? Because at some point I realized this entrepreneurship game is really cool, but then what if I didn't have a chance to even play the game of life? So now on the flip side, Logan, I mess around all the time. Like I play like a kid, like you have no idea, because I realize none of it is, I can't take any of it with me. So none of it is serious, but hear me out. It's sincere. Because when you were a baby, when you played, you didn't play seriously, did you? Nobody ever played to a point that you ended up harming other people, unlike we do it as adults in our professional sports like NFL, NBA, and MLB, and so on and so forth, right? All those things, when you were a baby, you took everything sincerely. You took every game sincerely, but you never took it seriously. So that's how I live my life now. I sit across, I was literally on YouTube, came across a gentleman named Casey Neistat. You ever heard of that guy?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Fell in love with it. I was like, oh my God, I've never held a camera in my hand before. I'm curious to learn this. Sincerely dove 110% deep into it. And I started going around just the person I am. I started making videos for local businesses here for free. Just like, yo, I'm dying. This is my thing. I want to try to help people as much as possible so I feel useful about myself. Would you care if I made you an astonishing video? You don't have to pay me. First, people look at me like, what the hell is wrong with you? You're weird. Right? But then once they see my TED Talks, when they look me up and everything else, then they let me into their lives. I kid you not, Logan, after 6-7 months of doing professional videography for people, I got contacted by an organization not too far from our house. They offered me $40,000 for a 60-second commercial because I'd done one or two free things for them already. So $40,000 for me is way too much money. I don't need all that. I've already done my math. I know how much money I need for my life. I live on a quarter of an acre in Calabasas in my house. It's already paid off. I drive a Mercedes S550, and it's the most comfortable car I could find for me, and it's paid off. I don't have the ego to buy a new Tesla anymore. I don't want a Lamborghini. I don't want a Ferrari anymore. I realize I have enough. And if one day everything that I have, everything that we have in this world were to be equally be divided into everybody else, I wouldn't get as much as I have now. So I'm blessed. I'm lucky. If I'm not an idiot, I'll spend the rest of my waking days spreading some luck around, just like the trees outside.
Wow. Wow. This is, I'm sure there are some minds blown. But I've got to ask you this then, because I think I come up with two questions now. I come up with, what's more important do you think for one to now do? Is it picking the sort of pleasures that you'd rather warp one day, or is it picking the right pains so you can leverage those pains into becoming sort of the having just enough pain but still seeing progress? Does that make sense?
Logan, how would I know?
Yeah, I think you would know by experience, by trying, by going out there.
I've got to be true to myself. What I have realized is that this life, like I was telling you, it's a song. You want to dance as freely as you want to the entire time this damn song is playing. There's no right or wrong way to dance. There are no two people that are ever going to dance the same. Brother, hear me out. I think what you need to do is stop listening to idiots like me or anybody else out there, because they're all trying to milk you. You're free. The answers you're looking for, nobody else has got them except you. Because play with me for a second here. How long have I known you, Logan? How much do I really know you?
You've known me for about, we've been on this call for 28 minutes and 11 seconds. So you've probably known me for a total of 32 minutes, as far as, talking, but we've been in a conversation on Facebook for the last 2 or 3 months.
Fantastic. Now, chances are that it basically is less than, let's say, 1% of your life so far. So why would I ever be qualified to tell you how you should live your life? The only thing that I got to tell you that I have to be true to myself is that I don't know. And Logan, nobody will ever know. And that's my message for everybody that's listening to this too. Nobody knows you like you know you. Sit on a rock, decide what you want to do today at this moment, and just go do that right now. And that's it. There is no right or wrong. Anybody and everybody, as far as anything that they tell you, that's a reflection of themselves, right? If they tell you, hey, this can't be done or that can be done, that's because that they draw that from their own background and their own data and their own information. But they haven't been with you every second of your life, have they? They don't know you at all. Even your parents, they're not there with you 24/7. So you're the only person that you knows what to do and what not to do. And as far as I'm concerned, I think a lot of us already, if not all of us, know what's right or wrong. You already know what's good or bad for you, right? So as long as you have that compass, you will never go wrong. For example, you'll never become a quote unquote loser to a point that you will never have any money to live with at all, because you already know it's better to be wealthy than to be broke, right? So you will figure things out as you go along. But at the end of it, man, this is the biggest thing I can leave you with is that I did everything everybody wanted me to do. I was a good student, man. I got a 4.0. I actually graduated college with a 3.8. I did everything everybody wanted me to do. And at the end of it, man, I'm telling you, even if you achieve it, even if you became like me, a quote unquote multimillionaire by age 26, once you're faced with your raw truth of death, you're going to be like, fuck, I didn't do everything I wanted to do. I so wanted to go on that hike. I so wanted to kiss that random girl. I so wanted to hug my mom so much tighter. I so wanted to write a song. I so wanted to just go to a bunch of businesses and say, yo, listen, you have a truck with a bunch of boxes in there. I don't want anything from you. I don't want your money or anything. I just want to see you smile. Can you use a hand? Can I help you out here for free? Like that's what I'm about. Playing as much as you want. Today, Logan, I make more money than ever before. We just finished our taxes. Last year was the most incredible year I've ever had in my entire career. And I kid you not, some weeks I worked only 10 hours a week. And some other weeks I worked 100. Because I can't conform to the ways that society sets for me. You know, when I sleep and when I wake up, whenever I feel like it. Like literally, if I have something to do, I'm editing a video, I'm talking to somebody, and it's a very deep conversation. And if it's like 4:30 in the morning, that's okay, because that's just what I like to do. A lot of people say, "Well, I can't sleep. Maybe I should take some sleeping pills." Like, no, man. If you don't, your body doesn't want to sleep. You don't want to sleep. Stop forcing your free. Stop forcing your ways. You are a free man. You are a free woman. Don't be controlled by your job. Don't be controlled by your school. Don't be controlled by your parents. Everybody wants us to take them seriously, because if we don't take them seriously, then there's no money in it for them, right? Your school wants you to take everything they tell you super seriously, because if you don't, then you won't pay the tuition. The government wants you to take politics seriously, because if you don't, you're not going to pay them. The hospital wants you to take your health seriously, because if you don't, they're not going to get paid. But the truth of the matter is that the only thing that you should take seriously is that you only have one life. And for all you know, my condition is not just confined to me. You also suffer from the same exact condition, and it's called being a human. You don't know when you're going to die. You really don't. So what if this month was your last month? Sit around, think about how you would want to spend the rest of your month, and do that. And I swear to you, there is no right or wrong. It's just dancing freely, as much as you want, until you have your last breath.
Man, wow, that is powerful. It's liberating, and that's why it's so powerful. And it is, I've got to say right now, that it's really hard for someone to actually practice this, because society constantly wants you to network, constantly wants
100%.
you to make money, to be able to say that you did those things. Like you said, though, you actually had success come into your life, and then all of a sudden, you, instead of zigging with everybody, you were like, no, I'm gonna zag actually.
Logan,
I don't
you're
need all
right.
this
Can I
money.
give you some tactical stuff so people can actually follow through? Because I understand this is very, very difficult, and not everybody's going to go through the life experiences I have had. So let me give you some tactical stuff so you can do this easier.
Yes.
Number one, budget. You need to figure out all your costs every single month and write them down, starting today. You open up your notes on your phone, every single dime that you spend, you write it down. Gas, $20. Food, $5, right? Every single time you reach in your pocket or you pay for something, whether it's your Netflix or anything else that comes out of your pocket, you write this down. Once you know your cost, let's say it happens to be $5,430, right? Once you know that, then you know, okay, this is how much money I need to make per month to make sure I meet my cost. Then it becomes really, really freaking easy, right? Then you don't end up spinning your wheels because you know you only have one goal, and that's to reach $5,430 so I can pay my costs. Number two, then you start doing your retirement planning. And you start by saying, hey, I want to save $1,000 for my emergency fund. Once you have $1,000, then you say, I want to have at least 3 months of worth of my cost saved up, right? So 3 times, let's say 5,500, that turns out to be $16,500 in your savings account. Then you say, well, I want 6 months of my cost. Then you save up for a year, 2 years, or however much long you're comfortable with. My comfort level is 10 years. So if I stop working today, at any given point, I want to make sure at least I have another decade worth of my cost so I don't have to work ever again, right? And that's what I focus on. Number three, once you figure out how much money you need, then you go through what I call a bill destruction. You go through that. Remember that cost list that you made up for yourself? You go through all of it and you say, what can I live without? What can I live frugally? How can I live so frugally so I can have all the freedoms in the world and I'm not chained to my 9 to 5 job? Here's my biggest reason for this, Logan. And this is what pisses me off the most. The corporations, they want you and I during our best years. They don't want you and I when we're 70 years old, do they? They want you and I when we're 18, 19, 20, 24, 30, right? They want you and I at our prime of our times. And then you know what they do? They don't want you and I when you and I are tired. They want you at the best time of your day. They want you in that damn office or cubicle from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the only reason we let you go home is so you can rest up, so you can be fresh, so you can make me and the corporations more money tomorrow. And that's how we're being treated right now, right? So screw that. I want you to make the money because you know how much money you need, and I want to show you how to make the money through liberation, through playing. Right? I learned how to make videos and I made money off of that. I learned how to be on social media. I made money off of that. I learned how to, for example, do operations and make money off of that. It's so much easier if you learn a skill to make money off of it. So number one, figure out all your costs. Number two, figure out how much money you need to make sure you're comfortable. Number three, go through bill destruction. Get rid of all the damn things that society wants you to have, but you know for sure, even if you have it, you're not going to be happy. You don't need a Spotify subscription and Netflix and Hulu and your Amazon Prime and so on and so forth. I see a lot of people spend their money on Amazon Prime, but you can wait a couple more days to get your stuff, can't you not? So stop feeding Jeff Bezos, stop feeding yourself. Once you go through all this, once you know how much money you need and so on and so forth, then it becomes a game. Then it becomes like, oh, okay, cool. What do I need to do today to make sure I feel like I have had enough serotonin in my brain? Your brain is controlled by two things only, two chemicals. It either produces anxiety for you, letting you know that there's some sort of danger and you need to adapt to it, or it produces happiness, letting you know, hey, this feels good, keep doing it again. A lot of us right now leave it to chance. We don't physically try to control it. If we're having a crappy day at work, we go home and we start drinking, or we go home and sob over it. Instead of going picking up some ice cream, instead of going paintballing right after, because we know physically that's what makes us happy, right? Once you do these things, once you understand your brain, then I swear to you, Logan, it's not as hard as you think. You start changing your perspective. You realize that even if I'm an NFL player, it's stupid for me to break my back for this stupid little game. But if I'm having fun with it, then I can make my millions of dollars and still have a perfect back. So at home, when I go at home at night, then I still have enough energy to pick up my 2-year-old daughter, right? Because you start doing yourself a favor versus the corporations. Do I make any sense to you?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I I love it the most because it's setting yourself up with the right system. And I don't even want to use right. I just want to say actually setting yourself up with a system
Correct.
that allows you to have freedom within that structure. And if you
100%.
have that, to actually do the upfront labor, it
Right.
is going to be tough. So, uh,
100%.
but once you get that system in place, it's like every skill in life. It gets a little bit easier and a little bit easier. And I think the biggest thing you said right away is, why does a corporation take you away from the most important critical time of your life, and when you have youth
Yep.
and health and possibility, and you're still curious because you haven't gone through life going, oh, I tried all this stuff, and
Right.
it comes down to, I've tried it all and it seems like it's not working for me, because I see so many people that are still and I don't want to like single anybody out that has a regular 9 to 5 job, and I'm talking to that one gas station attendant right now that needs to hear this
Right.
or something like that, that is taken away from being with their family or being
No,
away
100%.
from the thing that they love doing, because they didn't think that they could actually make a living doing that, but they
Right.
totally can.
And remember what I told you, I don't know what's right or wrong for you.
Yeah.
I'm just sharing what works for me. So if it resonates with you too, you can model parts of your life after mine. My biggest thing is that financial freedom is key. I can't be so kumbaya that says, whatever, life doesn't matter, and so on and so forth. And that's a misperception, because don't get me wrong, it's good to not care, but believe me, it's amazing to have money too, right? I mean, I don't want to be fooled. It sucks when I can't even go, let's say, buy a nice dinner for myself and my wife. But I love the fact that we can go to a restaurant and, unlike, let's say, 90% of America, not even look at the bill, not even worry about it, because it's because we have done our math, we have cut our costs, we live so frugally, Logan, that if you actually see my lifestyle, you're like, man, this doesn't make sense. You spend $30,000, $40,000 on camera equipment, but for example, you don't want to do XYZ, and that's the truth, right? Like, for example, Keurig coffee is the biggest waste of money. I won't do that, right? So I do it from time to time, but at the same time, I would spend money on, let's say, I don't know, buying a jet ski because I love doing that, right? It's about spending your money on what you want to do. Literally, hear me out. Do whatever the hell you want to do, because you only have one life to live. And at some point, if you're told, Logan, this is your last hour, you're going to die in an hour from now, because you don't know when you are going to die, right? At that point, if somebody says, Logan, you're going to die in an hour, would you take $20 to die now? I promise you're going to say no. If they said, would you take $30 right now, Logan, to die right now instead of an hour from now, I promise you won't. So with you not knowing how much time you have on this earth, why would you take crap pay for the job you don't want? If you love the job and that's all you want to do and you don't care for the money, by all means go for it. But figure out what you want to do and make sure that's what you're doing, because a lot of us end up doing everything we don't want to do. And that's my biggest takeaway from all this experience.
Hey, Logan Tyler Nelson here. I would so appreciate it if you took some time to hit the subscribe button. I really want to just honestly live and give. Why? Because I was told when I was young that if you're feeling down, the best way to feel better is by lifting someone up again. So in an effort to make someone feel less alone, please hit the subscribe button so the podcast has a better chance of being found and making someone feel less alone. And if you're feeling down, hey, it can help you. Know that by hitting that subscribe button, you just did someone a huge favor. So thank you for hitting that subscribe button. Wow. Yeah. Oh my God. You know what's mind-blowing about it all is that we as society are constantly exposed to the motivational videos that make you think you got to push yourself and hurt yourself in order to reach any sort of like quote unquote fulfillment. And that's I think totally wrong from it. It's actually being able to just take a skill that you really love doing already and being
Yep.
able to 10x that and
100%.
and to do it as much as possible. But I think the key is to not be a creature of habit of this, because then it comes
100%.
routine and then you lose the
Right.
whole feeling of what it is to actually feel this thing that makes you come alive. I think it's like being a creature of your environment. So is there a
Definitely.
community that you offer or anything that you can join that allows you to continue with this sort of mindset? Because
Yeah,
I think it's
I
the
do
most
actually.
important thing is community.
100%. I actually do. You ready for my community? Here's the address for it: 310-927-2588 is my personal cell phone number, and I give it out to anybody and everybody because I want you to directly, contact me. I don't sell courses or seminars. This is my life mission. I'm just trying to free people. So, for the love of yourself, if you feel like I can be useful to you, shoot me a text: 310-927-2588, and I'd love to be useful to you as much as I can.
I love it, my man. I started giving out I've been going on podcasts lately, and I've just been giving out my number, and people are thrown off by it because they're like, "Wait, you don't have an email? Like,
I mean,
where's your
electronic
Facebook
old
link?
school mail?
Like, what?" I'm like, I just simply I wanna call or text because I just like
Yep.
doing that more. I like calling, and feel like Facebook is just it's great. Don't get me wrong. I feel like Instagram is great. Don't get me wrong, and all those social medias are great. But just a nice like this. The reason why podcasting is so amazing, why, is because people are connecting talk to
100%.
talk. They're not just texting and emailing and doing this thing that's so disassociated from being a human being. So,
100%.
anyways,
Well, I am on Instagram. I am on YouTube. I'm on every single platform you mentioned. But when it comes to my people, Logan, I truly mean this. I don't have an agenda. I really don't. Like with me dying too, there's very little that I care about because I know a lot of it is things that I just can't take with me, right? So, with that said, I genuinely feel so much better about myself when somebody smiles. Like when somebody says, I get it, man. Like I get it. Like I get all of these letters all day long from people like, "Yo, you changed my life. Like I'm so thankful for you. How do I pay you?" It's more like, "Yo, you've already paid me enough. Like I don't need more money. Like I have more than I know how to spend. I want you to turn that into a scholarship. I want you to spend that on your wife and kids. Have you ever been to Kauai? Have you ever been to like Bali? Why don't y'all take a trip on me? Because that's what makes me feel better. Like I need more friends. I don't need more paper to carry around with me. So I appreciate you also being genuine too. And if I can ever be useful to yourself or any of your audience, would love to do that.
wow. Thank you, Ash. Thank you so much, man.
You don't need to
Hey,
thank me there, man. Like I'm the right hand taking the splinter out of the left hand. You would do the same exact thing for me if you were me. So don't ever thank me, Logan. Actually, instead, if you don't mind, help me remain humble because that's the only key that we can use for ourselves as people to make sure we keep the greed and the thirst of the rich in check. Once we make them feel like they're special or something, then we end up getting the short end of the stick. So all I ask you, my brother, is help me remain humble. I don't need more ego. I actively very much focus on getting rid of all my ego. So help me remain humble.
that I will, my friend. I will
I
seriously
appreciate it.
make you very humble. Uh, because but I want to get you into. I'm gonna switch gears for a little bit, just for like 3 minutes, 4 minutes maybe. I call them scratching the surface curiosity questions, which is just something I want to ask you because I think it will make people feel a little bit less alone, as well as
Hmm.
get to know you a little bit more. Because, dude, you deserve that, and also it will help you be a little bit more humble. So, you ready for this?
That's it. Tell me.
Okay. What is a thought you keep having during the day that you just wish you didn't have anymore?
What is the thought I keep having that I wish I didn't have anymore? Um, Logan, are you familiar with Buddhism?
Yeah, I love
Okay,
Buddhism.
so I'm very much subscribed to the philosophy of Buddhism when I'm having thoughts. To me, they're hilarious, right? Because I feel like everybody's eyes are the camera, you are the director of your life, and you get to choose the genre of your movie that you want to watch, right? Now, unfortunately or fortunately, it just kind of happens that most of our society actually chooses drama as their genre. I've chosen comedy ever since my sickness just because I think it's just hilarious. So, to be honest, there's not a single thought that bothers me just because I'm very much with people. Because of my condition, I spend a lot of time with people that are dying, right? And I spend a lot of my time at orphanages and so on and so forth. So one thing that I've realized is that I have to be very compassionate. I can be with people, but I don't ever get caught in the drama of a thought. Because what is a thought? It's just a bunch of neurochemical reactions in my brain, right? So when that happens, I lift myself almost above my own body. I realize that my physical body is just an accumulation of the foods I've eaten, and I'm just more than that. Let me explain. In front of you, if you have an avocado or if you have a banana, you distinguish that that is the banana outside me, and this is me, the one I'm touching here right now, my chest and my arms and my legs and so on and so forth. But the truth is, the moment you eat that banana becomes a part of your body, does it not? So your body is actually an accumulation of the foods you've eaten over time. I'm less interested in that. I'm interested in who you truly are, Logan, as a human being and as a person. Let me give you another angle. You know how you say my car? Your car is the possession and you are the owner. Is that correct? We're
Right.
very clear. Now, what if you said my hand? What if you said my mouth? What if you said my feet? What if you said my brain and my mind? Who is this my guy you keep talking about? And that's who I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Not the body that's processing thoughts, right? Because thoughts are a dime a dozen, right? They're various different thoughts. I have a very, very good training program and practice for myself and others that are interested. I help us become very, very mentally tough. So that way we can almost get through anything in life by realizing the grander scheme of what we're here to do. Because, Logan, you're going to feel a lot of thoughts that are going to scare the crap out of you if you view yourself as a drop in the ocean. But if you really zoom out, you realize you're not just a drop, you are the ocean. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't suffer from thoughts like a lot of other people do. I actually get to play with them.
100%. Oh God, yeah. So I don't think you really answered. I'm gonna keep you humble, man. You didn't really answer it. What is that one bad thought that you keep having that you wish you didn't have?
I don't have one, man. I
You don't
really
have a
don't.
bad thought, one negative thought, like maybe a thought of like hurting someone, or a thought of like maybe I don't know, feeling
When I
like you're not
was
enough, or
when I was 6 years old, there was a man in our family who grew very, very close to our family. He was a man of God and he was a very, very nice gentleman. He did so much for so many people to a point that everybody knew him as the good guy. When I was 6 years old, Logan, he molested me sexually. And unfortunately, this went on for almost 10 years, up until when I was about 16 years of age. The reason why at some point I got so depressed and I wanted to commit suicide is because of that. And at some point, after knowing what I know now, I realize hatred is not a feeling that we have organically. And I want to live my life organically so I can extend my life as much as possible. I'm not afraid of death, but I am in no hurry to die. I had to make peace because if two stars collide with each other, star number one doesn't get mad at star number two. It just so happens. It's unfortunate, and I hope that never happens again. I've talked to the gentleman ever since, and I've made sure I do anything and everything in my power to make sure this never, ever, ever even crosses his mind for another split second ever again. But at the same time, I love the guy. I love the man. You know why? Because he's broken too. He comes from a broken family. What he did to me was what he was done to when he was a child as well. So this cycle, this pattern stops right here, right now. Do I have anger? Do I have faith? Do I have feelings of bad things? No, I don't. Because I approach this from a very, very organic, natural state of mind. And that is for me to make sure I shine, just like sun does. The sun doesn't discriminate against who it shines on. It's just doing its job. And for me, the feelings that you talk about, they're just feelings. If you and I are observing two monkeys, if monkey number one comes to monkey number two and says wah, wah, instead of woo, woo, it's almost foolish for the number two monkey's day to be screwed up completely, or for the monkey number two to go on for weeks being hurt. Because what difference does it make if somebody said wow, wow versus woo, woo? But today in our society, somebody says, you know what, Logan, screw you. You're an idiot. Your mom, this and that, whatever. And you go on for days just being caught in the drama of that thought. But the truth of the matter is, the words they just spoke, they're nothing but a vibration of their vocal cords through air to create some sound. Hear me, Logan. There's a difference between a lion attacking you versus you sitting around in a very safe environment thinking that a lion may be attacking you. Don't get caught in that thought. I don't. No, I don't hate anybody at all. I just am, and I just am a kid. I want to play. When you were a kid, did you hate anybody? Did it matter if somebody was Jewish or Christian, or did it matter if somebody was black, white, Asian, Middle Eastern, Indian? Did it matter anything at all? No. You just wanted to play, right? So that's how I view it. No, I'm sorry. I wish I had a better, more dramatic answer for you, but I don't. I really don't have any thought that I don't want to have, because if I do, then I change the thought to something I want to.
No, I pressed you, and you gave exactly what you needed to give, and so I just I wanted to get more. I guess I want to get more out of you, because I think there's maybe someone may be construed in believing that you have it all figured out, when no, you don't. No one does.
I don't. No.
And so,
No.
but even and I say that, but I guarantee someone might go like, Logan, what are you talking about? This guy just knows a lot about a lot of things, and I want to say, yeah. And guess what? He knows a lot about a lot of other things that may not matter to other people, but to my people, to the community that I want to be around, it matters that he says this thing. And I really want to say, I know you don't like the word thank you, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to say thank you for doing that.
Of course.
I want to move on to the next curiosity question, if that's cool.
Tell
Curiosity
me.
question.
Yeah.
Awesome. I would love to ask you, who is one person that you would like to speak to and ask them one of those big questions that you wish they started asking themselves in order to live a meaningful life?
There are a lot of people that I wanted to ask a lot of questions, from Mendel Mandela, let me see if I can kind of give you a more concrete answer. Do you know who a gentleman named Ram Dass is?
No, I can't. Why does it sound so familiar though?
He's a
Ramda.
very, very nice gentleman. You probably have heard of him. He's very old now, lives in Hawaii. I would say if there was one person that really helped me during my lowest points was him. So if I could ever have a conversation with one person, I think it would definitely be him. And the reason is that look him up, Logan. I think you're going to get a kick out of this guy. He has a very, very similar story to how I live my life. He was a professor at Harvard and he had a plane. He had it all. And then he loses it all by choice because he wanted to find something that had a greater meaning, right? Now, he's got a very, very fascinating story. So if I were to ask him any questions, I would ask him a question of leadership. I believe today, Logan, we're lacking leaders. There's not a single leader today in the world that comes up that says, you know what? I want all of you guys to be free and I want everybody to truly enjoy their life and go about it in a way that they can actually accomplish things. Today, Logan, I would want to have that conversation with Ram Dass and say, man, you know, just like I do, the little wire two people way back when put on the ground shouldn't separate us as human beings. So how come you didn't stand up to say and to let the world know that, hey, two people putting down a wire on the ground shouldn't all of a sudden make you Mexican and make somebody else American, make you Filipino, make somebody else Lebanese, right? That's just the worst, the most idiotic idea I've ever heard. Instead, we need to come bring it all together because we can't be the only species that are self-deprecating ourselves and self-destructing ourselves, right? So if I were to find that one person that I could have that conversation and ask him, is him. He's Ram Dass is just a very, very wise gentleman, wiser beyond his years and beyond anybody I've ever known. So my question for him would be, why did he not go about it as far as in a way that we could have resolved a lot of these things that I see today in our modern history?
Wow, wow, yeah, that's a heck of an answer, my friend. Yeah, Ram Dass. Yeah, he looks very familiar, and he's just you know what I love is the fact that he's a man who can probably sit in a room where everyone is talking, cheersing off their glasses and asking each other what they do for a living, and he's just sitting there totally at peace at a table all by himself with complete
Yeah,
awareness that that's who he wants to be in that moment.
yeah,
So to me, that's just like the picture that the first image that comes to mind for, and I may be
100%
wrong.
right. No,
Uh,
you're right, actually.
oh wow, that feels good. Anyways, the last two questions, I got two more questions, is just how can I support you? How can anyone that's listening right now to this support you?
I just want you to first look at yourself, make sure your mental health is well. I want you to understand your brain and make sure you're doing anything and everything in your power to make sure you're always happy. Happiness is a choice. And I feel like, regardless of what happens outside your body, you always intake everything inside yourself, right? The words I'm saying to you right now, you're not hearing it out here, you're hearing it inside your head. Anything and everything that you see, whether it's in media or even in real life, it's literally a reflection of the lights that have been going through your retina in your eye, and that is the picture that's being transported inside your brain. Look, it's easier than you think. It's all happening inside you. So if you understand that concept and you don't leave it to chance and you start controlling it based on what you like and what you don't like, then I think you're going to live a great, amazing life, better than you could ever plan it for yourself. And then at that point, once you get there, what you can do is help me liberate other people. I see too many executives literally making $84.5 million plus a year, and they are as miserable as I've ever seen anyone be. I see high powered people commit suicide. And that's because it's just it sucks to be stuck in their head. Logan, today we have the most amounts of pleasures we can ever have. We have the most amount of convenience we can ever have. Like literally, you can control the climate inside your car. How crazy would that be if you said to somebody that you could do that 100 years ago, right? So with all that said, last year, unfortunately, we had the most amount of commitments of suicide. Why is that? Why is it that we lose 64,000 people every single year to prescription drugs? Why is that? And I don't blame the doctors. A lot of us have issues. We go to the doctor, and the doctors that prescribe us with this medication is because they don't know any better, and they're worried and they're fearful of their own lives and their family's well-being too. So that's why they end up making the wrong decision. I don't know what's right. Nobody knows what's right for you. So for the love of God, stop listening to me. Don't go on social media and follow me, because then I'll be a hypocrite. My biggest thing is to reach as many people as possible and liberate you so you can go live your life, not stuck on Instagram following me to see whatever else I want to blab about. Everything you need to know already comes from you already. And anything that anybody ever tells you, if it resonates with you, it's because you already had that thought already. You ever hear somebody say something, you're like, oh, yeah. That's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I wanted to say it. The only difference is that you already have that in you, but they verbalize it. So start realizing your life and the entire world is happening inside you, not outside. Fix your mental health. Help me spread the word so we can liberate more people. And that's about all you can do for me.
I love it, Ash. Thank you. Wow. Okay, so I just got to ask you one more thing, though. And I don't usually do this, but is there a question that you wish that I would have asked you?
There's one question that I think I wish you had asked me, and that was probably a simpler question than you think, and that was just simplicity of why.
Why?
But you didn't ask me, so I'm not going to give you that answer. How about we save that for the next podcast? Because we do all this, and everything I told you that I'm doing there's a why to it bigger than anything else, right? There is a personal side to this that I think that I gain from, and I think that would be answered in the question, why do you do this? Why does it matter for you to do this before you die? And I think that would be a very, very big philosophical question that will probably take us another hour. So if you don't mind, let's save that for next time.
Let's do that. And I'm going to make a little nice write-up PDF thing of budget retirement build videos, the skill, and sort of like finding that thing that allows you to actually be liberated, because I think that would be an awesome little thing that someone can use as a checklist. So if you're looking for that, please contact myself or Ash. I'll leave that stuff, that information, and get in touch with that in the show notes. And then also, if you heard anything I said or Ash said that resonated with you, don't just hit next. Please don't just hit next and go, I'm going to go to the next podcast. If you heard something that I said or Ash said, Instagram, Facebook, tweet about it. I did not make this podcast for just more mentors for you to put on the internet or put on this thing that did actually speak with you, but instead you just decided I'm going to go on with my life because, well, that's just the auto drive and autopilot that I'll put myself in, and then I'll go, okay, who's the next person that I want to learn from? But really, really take time to reach out to one of us if anything did resonate with you. Ash gave his own freaking phone number, which I'm going to make it stupid simple, where I'm going to put it in the show notes that allows you to just click on and text or call him, because he gave permission for you to do that and liberate yourself today. Oh my God. If there hasn't, and I hate it, like people, if they say like, oh, if Valium bombs haven't been dropped, then I don't know what. But this isn't. It is not a value bomb. This is your life. This is not
Yeah.
like a big like sort of like get quick and rich scheme as you've heard Ash for the last hour talk about. It's not that at all. It's so much bigger, and the why behind it is going to be in an episode maybe later on. So Ash. I'm not going to compliment you because, yeah, it's been fun, and I'm not going to compliment you for your time
No,
because you
for
don't like
sure.
that.
It's okay, but you can be genuinely speaking about what you enjoyed, right? It's not about boosting my ego, but it's about genuinely saying something like for example, I genuinely explored my mind with you, Logan, and that's like the most incredible thing I can do at this point in my life. So I had a lot of time. If honestly, seriously, if I walk out of here, I get hit by a bus. If this was the last conversation I've ever had with another human being, I'm very happy with it. So thank you for that opportunity.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you can't do that to me. You can't just say that. Don't thank me. Just make me humble. I don't. Geesh, man. This guy is Morpheus or Gandalf or whoever is in a movie right now and is the leader, the hero, and shows him the journey. So, anyways.
You got it, man.
I wish we could do another episode for 14 hours, and you will, I hope, accept my invitation for that on a later date. But until then, I will talk to you later, my friend.
You got it. Take care, okay?
Take care.
Thank you so much for the time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, there's another episode of Scratch Your Own Itch. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to support the show by listening. The biggest compliment you could ever pay me is just by sharing this, because honestly, it doesn't take much, and it feels so good when people create something and take time. And when I see someone take time to create something that really just changed my day, either made me feel less alone, maybe put a smile on my face, made me laugh, made me feel wiser, I always want to share it with the world. Because why? When I share something that resonates with me, why not share it? I mean, that's just kind of the thing that goes around, and it's free. It takes no time at all other than just a click of the button, share, on either Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Any of those social media platforms would be great to share this. So I really appreciate it. And I want to say that anybody who's looking to gain authority or expertise in their area, and they don't want to take another year or year and a half to write a book and wait until that's published, I think the best way is right now is to start a podcast. So if you're at all interested in starting a podcast, if you meet the certain requirements, I would love to help you with a podcast and also get a website going for you as well. And this is not an easy task. It's hard to actually get it done and get it out there. So every now and then we need some help, and I'm here for you. So please reach me at Logan at LoganTylerNelson.com if you're interested at all. And don't ever forget, you matter and you're enough.